Rightio. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to hopefully successful on loose lines. Have had a few little audio issues over the last few days. We've got Swindle races on tonight. We've got quite a few things happening. We've got the Pancare logo up there, which I'll discuss that in a minute. It actually was there for a reason. Dave Brick's going to join me as well, but people who are regulars on this show know how it works. If you are watching live, just get involved with the show. Got a funny feeling, just bear with me for a minute, because yes, my YouTube feed didn't start, but it has started. I believe it's started now, so hopefully it should be all good to go, because I can't actually see it there, so hopefully in a second. Yep, now it's there as well. So if you're watching on YouTube as well, you can get involved as well. It's a funny one, YouTube. It gets a little bit tricky, and for some reason cannot show the comments. Can definitely show the comments on Facebook, and so get involved with the show. There's plenty to discuss. David Brick, is going to be my live guest a little bit later on. He'll be on the show. Good evening to you, Scotty Purden. Didn't see your comments about the cold weather or that, but that is actually my question for tonight. How you survive the winter after what was a pretty brisk night as well last night. So we've got plenty to talk about. Some good results for Woodland Stud over the weekend as well, plus some stallion updates, and as I said, David Brick will come on about 1:15, but please drive the show however you like. I've written a thing at the top here. I need to be positive, I need to stay positive. It can be a bit hard sometimes promoting this industry and being positive, but I believe we need to change what we do. We need to look at what we do as an industry, and I believe we need to try and change it and get this industry back being positive. Sitting there at Bendigo last night, it was freezing cold, -1 degree from about 7 o'clock till 9 o'clock onwards. No one was really enjoying it, and we need to change how we do it. So the reason I'm asking how we survive, I believe on nights like that, Bendigo, we'd love a shed at Bendigo. The shed won't be coming anytime soon because there's no money. We all know that there is no money, but perhaps a club, some organisations, some associations, maybe trainers and drivers, someone. There's a lot of people, a lot of elderly people there last night. It's a long walk up to the committee rooms there. Put some soup on, put some food on, give these guys some way of warming up. There's no owner's room, there's no driver's room that's terrible, to say the least. Tile floor, it's not warm. The drivers, that's their drivers where they go. There's nowhere for people to go, get out of and get into the warmth. So I put it to the clubs, be aware on these cold days, especially if you don't have a shed, that people are down there doing the horse thing, getting wet feet, getting cold at -1 degree, and we need to change. We need to change the way we do things. Cup of soup, cup of tea, hot water. There's a water bottle there for saying how people survive the cold water, the wet night, but I'd say Scotty's talking about a water bottle to keep warm. But I believe as an industry we have an opportunity to grow what we have. I think turnover has been up. It's been spoken about that it's been up lately on our industry, and that's what we need. Bigger field sizes, which is what we need as well. Good field sizes at Swanhill tonight and right across the board. But we still can't forget the fundamental little things. We need to get some people, the people that are putting the show on, wanting to go to the races. It's only going to get colder. Last night was an extreme night. It was clear, it was frosty, and yeah, it was bearable. I bitched a little bit, but that's my way. I think I'm entitled to. But what I'm encouraging people to do, and what we need to do, is think outside the square and make sure that we can get people wanting to go there. Whether it's a matter of talking to the caterers. I know the Shepparton, the caterers in Shepparton, they actually go down and ask people if they would like food. You pay for it and you go and get it. They can send you a text message when your tea's ready, so you don't have to wait in lines, because that's another thing. When you've got horses and you're there on your own, not only is it a long way to go, but if you've got to wait 10-15 minutes, it can be too late. So yeah, I put it to the industry and the people running it. Bendigo are going to have upwards of 46 meetings next year. Vast majority of those are going to be through the winter months, and the other, going to be through the better months. The better months are easy. It's easy to sell. People will go and sit on the lawn, but there's nowhere to sit there last night. There's no stalls, there's no steps, there's nothing, no heaters. And yeah, we just need to be aware we've got an aging demographic that have the horses. So let's change it up, and that's what I want people to do. Have some blankets. Horses people had horse rugs wrapped around them, Scotty. It was very, very cold. Donna Castles looks like she's going to win this next race at Swan. I don't actually have the name of her horse up, unfortunately, because I actually went to Horsham just there before. No, it's not. It was going to win. Nathan Jack's coming through now. I'll tell you who's going to win it as they come through. Actually, Ashley Ainsworth's coming through hard. Don't think he's going to get through. This is a good one for the race call. I should have had the volume up on that, but can't, so that's okay. But yeah, I just think we need to think about the people that are running this industry as well, and that is the people putting the show on the track. Everyone needs to be there, and on nights like last night, I just think it's incumbent. Maybe it was up to Campbell's comments. Maybe I should have took Super around or something along those lines. Didn't think about it until this morning, but yep, if people put it out there, not having a crack at Eric and them, he probably didn't think about it. He was upstairs, he was probably working, probably don't think about it, but yeah, we definitely need to be aware of it. As I said, it's a long walk to the clubhouse, the bistro, whatever you want to call it, and you're meant to be staying with your horses. If the vets come around and want to see your horses, you're meant to be there. So yeah, we need to do that. The other one I want to do, I want to challenge clubs as well, and I want to challenge people to think outside the square. I've been thinking about this one since the North American Cup that was won by Nijinsky the other day, Son of Bettor's Delight, and I will talk about that in a second. The North American Cup, the Pepsi North American Cup, time-honoured race, stands the test of time. It's for 3-year-olds. We need to change the way we promote our industry. We need to change the way we do our races. So I was thinking about how do we change it and all the rest. Everyone wants to have a cup, but all our cup fields are free-for-all horses, run over a longer trip. We all want stands to come back. They're never coming back. Tommy Patterson, hello to you. Hopefully I'll be over seeing you very shortly. Some big announcements coming out of New Zealand, so early next month I should be over there. Tommy is staying at the beautiful Commodore, so I look forward to catching up with you then. Hello, Kylie Linsell. Kylie Linsell was there last night. She'll appreciate how cold it was, and I'm not necessarily sooking for myself, although I am, because I was cold. I forgot one of my jackets. That's my fault. But there were a lot of people out there that was bitterly cold. Bit of warm water, the offer of some soup, something along those lines, doesn't cost a lot, would have been good, but that's what I want to do. But I also want to challenge the industry. So imagine at Bendigo, when we have the Aldebaran Park Murray Mile time-honoured race, and we celebrate the trotters trotting 153, 152, and them getting invites over to America or Europe or both to be able to compete on the world stage and showcase what our talent is. The pacing race is over the 2,600 metre race. It's a mobile event. Why not change the Bendigo Pacing Cup to a mile? Put it on to the same night. Make it a speed night. Make it almost invitation. It's one of the fastest tracks we've got going. You could almost get it as an invitation to the Miracle Mile, albeit that it's a long way beforehand. But we need to go. We need to go. You say it, I look like a pirate. We need to change the way we think about these races. Hamilton have a short distance race, but I think it's up to 100 rated race. In Victoria, in Bendigo, for the first Saturday of the month, the Bendigo Pacing Cup is on. It's over 2,600 metres. We have a 2,800 metre race the very next day, but it's up to 100 rated horses at Cobram. We then go to the Shepparton, same distance. We then go to Ballarat, time-honoured Ballarat Cup. Don't change it. It works. It fits into that where it does, and then that leads 2 weeks into the Hunter Cup. But let's try changing it. Imagine having just an all-speed night at Bendigo in the middle of summer. Summer would be good right about now. But I challenge people to start thinking about our industry and changing it. Clubs change it, owners change it, participants change it. Let's not just leave it up to the industry to change it. Have a look what's going on in Queensland with David Brick. They keep bringing new things in. Racing Queensland do, but the Creek do, Redcliffe do. They celebrate trot shots. They keep changing it. New Zealand, constantly changing. I know, I get privy to some information I'm not allowed to say, but I get privy to a lot of information. I know there's some exciting news going to come out for the New Zealand Pacing Cup and that carnival, but they continue to keep it also the same. So there is change, but they've got the grins, they've got the tab trot. Clubs bought that upon them. David Brick and Cambridge Harness Racing Club drove that. They were the ones that actually bought that race series up, and they were the ones that pushed for it to get there. We need to, as an industry, think about it here in Victoria especially. Prize money is going to be slashed. Who knows whether it is or it isn't. I'm sick of the negativity. I'm sick to death of seeing everyone all the time saying, oh, they've got to do this, oh, they've got to do that. We have to do things. We have to change it. Let's change our product. Let's put an idea out there. Let's reinvigorate it, and let's heat things up as well, because I am sick of it. Sorry, don't normally have a rant, but I just find it very hard sometimes to be extremely positive around this industry and set people constantly getting picked on, told about, said what they do wrong all the time, yet other people won't pick up the parcel. So go that way. Also clubs, please be aware. In the middle of summer you take out water, middle of winter take out water, but make it hot. Warm up these participants and be aware of the people that are out there putting the show on. Andy Gaff, he was walking around shivering. It was revolting. At 7 o'clock last night, it was -1 degree at the track. And to ask people to be staying out there and not being able to get access up until the room would be to see Kylie Linsell bring back the supper room if possible. So exactly, it's sitting there, Kyles. Even if they just opened the doors and turned the heaters on, so people could sneak around there. It's only just around the corner. There was nowhere last night for people to get out of the weather, and I believe we have to do something about it, and that's what I say. I think Bendigo is one club. I know Kilmore's going to be super exciting. They do have a trainer's room. They do have drivers' rooms, ladies' drivers' rooms, new stewards' rooms, undercover stabling, and the rest. Bendigo, here's a wake up. More people are going to race at Kilmore on the Thursday, every second Thursday, than they will be at Bendigo on every Wednesday if you don't do something through the middle of winter. So don't have to spend a lot of money, just do something. So love Bendigo, was on the committee, not having to go at any person directly. Swan Hill tonight, hopefully they're doing something. Shepparton tomorrow night, as I said, they've got a fully uncovered shed. But they do send the caterers around to ask people if they want food. Just think about it. Put on a better spectacle. We need people in the industry. It's pretty hard getting out of bed at the minute. So, yeah. So that's my little rant for the week. Apologies for it if people don't enjoy it and don't want it. But, yeah, I think someone's got to start putting a challenge out to all these people, the negative Nellies out there that just want to constantly pick on everyone. I think got to have a crack. Matty Markham, hello to you, mate. Need to catch up with you as well going soon. So, yeah, remember the 44-gallon drums. Nelly, that was bought up last night. And someone said, why don't we have them anymore? I'm like, OH&S is killer of a lot of things. That's probably not a bad thing, those things. They're probably a touch dangerous, especially when they fell apart. I remember the old diesel ones in the old stabling at Ballarat. You couldn't see sometimes for the smoke in the stabling area. Yeah, I don't think they'll be allowed anymore. But we definitely need to. Some of the guys like Timmy White just come on there. Matty Markham's from Ashburton. It's cold enough where he is, but Timmy White down at Invercargill, right down the bottom of the south, I'm sure they experience some horrible weather and some terrible times as well while they're down there. But I think the clubs down there look after them pretty well as well. So, as I said, just having a bit of a little dig. Right, we'll flip that switch. We'll stay positive. I'm going to get David Brick on in, as I said, about 15:15 in a couple of minutes. It's not far off there. I'm going to say a well done to quite a few people. Make people aware, of a few things that have actually happened in this last week. Sorry, just bear with me for 1 second because I've got to remember where to turn the volume. There it is there. Because there was a good little story on Monday. For Pancare and Pancare awareness. Just got to go back a touch. I'll get this back at about the 400 metre mark, where the filly A Lifetime for Living made her debut for Grant Campbell, Karen Manning. I did publicise this. The horse did a terrific job. Alice, as she is more affectionately known. But she's here to raise awareness for Pancare. So this filly that actually raced Hide by the Fire. Yep, good idea, Timmy. But yeah, so this filly was there too. So she's by Soho Trail Becca out of One Moment to Dream. I'm going to be in trouble there. I don't actually have her name with me at the minute. But she's a little filly. Once they get past the 400 metre mark, I will actually flick over to this screen. Pretty sure we're going past it there. That's her running fourth in the white colours. Karen Manning driving her, affectionately known as Alice. She's a bit green. She wobbles a little bit wide here at the top of the straight and loses a bit of ground, but with a bit of urging from Kez, she continues to strive to the line. Now, the response from this filly prior to and after from the Pancare Foundation and so many other people raising awareness for the insidious cancer diseases has been sensational, and we want people to be able to continue to be aware of it. She's a ripping little filly, but get behind it. There will be a few more things coming out very shortly in regard to Pancare and Pancare awareness. I'm not going to tell people where to send their donations because they're actually setting it up properly now. They've been overwhelmed. I know the guys at Horsham the night before, they had a bit of a get-together, told people about the horse and the fact that she was racing and what was going on. And they told about the horse. They raised $350. People put their hands in their pockets for no reason other than say this horse was racing for Pancare and getting to raise awareness for it, and people got behind this horse and donated $350. There will be an official website comes out and we can go from there. If you would like to know more about it, you can go to the Pancare Foundation of Australia, or you can actually contact Lower Long Farms, Kath McIntosh, and the girls there will definitely send you into the right direction to make sure people can be aware of it. Paul, 12 months ago, you were pushing for people to think that change that could improve things in harness racing Victoria. Nothing has changed at the time because those on the HRV board shut the door to their heated offices. No, don't want change. No one wants change, I reckon, is what you might be meaning to say there, Jeff. I agree. People don't like change. People hate it. I love my wife and my daughter. They hate change. They don't like moving a horse from one paddock to the other. Guess what? We have to. As I said, let's make the first weekend, the first Saturday night for the new year, Bendigo Cup night, speed night. Let's put a 3-year-old on for speed. Let's put a 3-year-old trot on for speed. Let's get the fastest 2-year-olds going around. If it's a still night, 40 degrees, horses can run anything around Bendigo. It's safe. It's a perfect time to do it. Set the track alight. Let's get us on the world stage. Imagine having 3 or 4 sub 55 run races on the one night. Change it up. Needs to change. Things have to change. Don't have to have your Cup, Wedderburn, Bort, Charlton, Oyen. It does not have to be the fastest classes that people will give you. Think outside the square. Make your main race on the night, the day. It can be the Oyen Cup, but it could be 3-year-olds. It could be 2-year-olds. $17,000 2-year-old race at Oyen. You'll get more horses there. You'll get a better betting product as well. You'll get change, and we need to do it. So yeah, let's go for it. Right, Bettor's Delight. Done a huge job for Woodland Stud in Mohawk on the weekend, winning the 2 feature races. Nijinsky taking out the $1 million Pepsi North American Cup for 3-year-olds, but it's a North American Cup, so well done to that. And It's a Love Thang took out the $425,000 Fan Hanover Stakes as well. Bettor's Delight. He was 22 years of age when he conceived both these 3-year-olds, continuing to get the job done. He just does an amazing job. And he is actually available there for Woodlands. We'll get that one up there. All of their yearlings are there. Kima Frenning is there as well. Kima, I'll get onto the good announcement today with you guys. But all of the lots are there. Of course, the American Ideal was the first horse. He is booked out. His book is finished and closed. Mark Hughes alerted us to that last week, but all other horses will be going across there. I said Kima Frenning, she's logged on just there now. Sundon's Gift, today inducted into, Living Legends. I don't know if he's inducted, but yep, he's now a permanent resident at Living Legends, which is great to see. And saw a little video footage of Chris Lang standing up under the sulky, on the end of the sulky. So if you get a chance, Google it on your social media feeds, Hero, or go to the HRV site, and you'll be able to see him come in there. But great to see the Standardbreds recognised in Living Legends, and Sundon's Gift, great horse, of course, went across and represented Australia in the elite lot, as well as plenty of other great races as well. So good to see him him there as well. Harness Breeders Victoria, they've got their awards night this Saturday night coming at Melton. I believe people will be notified if you're going to be winning one. So good luck to everyone there, because the awards nights have changed a little bit. And on Sunday at Bendigo, the VSTA and Trots Club Victoria are having theirs. Both of those have flown well and truly under the radar. I don't have a lot more information other than the email that I was sent through Trots Clubs Victoria. Hi all, we apologise for the extremely short notice, but the VSTA 2023 awards presentations will be held at Bendigo Harness Racing Club on Sunday, June 23. Unfortunately, due to changes to the racing calendar, increasing costs, etc., We had been unable to secure a suitable venue. We are most appreciative of Trots Club Victoria for the ability to share the day. Yep, and more information. Unfortunately, that is closed, but yeah, good luck to everyone that is actually winning their awards there. It's interesting change of the calendar. I don't think the calendar changes until the 1st of July, but maybe a couple of race meetings might have been swapped. I don't know. That is one thing I will say back to you, Jeff. We have got a new racing calendar coming in, so that part's going to be exciting, and I'm looking forward to it. A lot of people don't like it, but I think it's going to be great. Every Wednesday we're racing at Bendigo. Every Tuesday Shepparton. Thursdays will be Ballarat or Bendigo. You're going to know where you are. Geelong and Melton, the alternate Fridays. So you're going to know where you are. So Jamie Lee, hello to you. Got me for a minute, but Jamie Lee Bryans or Jamie Lee King, good to see you there as well. So yep, they're going to go there. Well done to Brad Angove and Chris Angove as well. Quinella in the last race with a ripping story, and I will get around there with Sundon's Gift beating the younger horse. Oh no, actually other way around. Doesn't matter. Well done. They Quinella the last race, and Kinvert Adventures had a bloody good week, and the horse was by Kinvert Adventure that won. Anyway, I'll worry about that in a little bit. Actually going to get David Brick on and get him on the phone, hopefully. He's on school pickup, I think, so we'll talk about the Queensland Carnival.
Hey, Paul.
David, how are you?
Well, thanks.
That's all right, mate. Thank you very much for joining me. One of my subjects tonight is how do you stay warm, or how do you survive the cold in the middle of winter? Moving to Queensland has come up a couple of times. It's a pretty popular decision, isn't it?
Well, that would have been my first suggestion. So, yeah, there's a few smart people there. I'd suggest rolling out replays of Carlton versus Essendon, any of the 1999, I think that preliminary final. I think that's probably get a good run that'll warm your heart, even last 2 weeks ago. So, there are a couple of suggestions from me.
Yeah, no, I don't mind those ideas either. Actually, the baggers were up and about at the minute. It's actually not bad to see, is it?
No, it's good. Hopefully it keeps rolling.
Yeah, exactly, because we are a pretty ordinary bunch when we're losing, but we're a good bunch when we're rolling along. We can be pretty good. And of course, you're from Ballarat, and Ballarat must have been was it an Essendon zone? Was it? Because there's a lot of Essendon supporters in Ballarat.
I think from memory, St Kilda was zoned to the Frawleys and Locketts and the like. So I think that was when they had that sort of in the 80s and the like. So yeah, I think the Saints ended up with a few Ballarat boys back in the day.
Yeah, of course they did, and a few of those had a bit to do with harness racing too. So yeah, I forgot about that. Yep, asked the Southerner Tristan Larson. Of course, Tristan would know how the cold. But I will say the one thing we're still getting comments on the cold. Ben Hope is from the South Island too, at Christchurch, and it's predominantly colder than here. He experienced one of the worst nights. It was a night like the other night at Bendigo at the trials. Bendigo can be a shocking place when it's very, very cold. It can be unique to the areas where you are from, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I think sometimes you do. Probably depends where you're staying. I'm sure Victorians that came up here now would find it warm, but as a Victorian who's been up here 7 years, this time of night when it does get wetter in Queensland, even though during the day it's lovely, certainly when the sun goes down it can cool off. I
actually remembered it 4 days ago because on the creek, Jack Chappell drove his first winner up there for the Grant Dixon. We always have faith, and he's got a big heavy jacket on, but he's from Bathurst, so you'd reckon it'd be nearly a heat wave for him. He's only just moved up, but yeah, he's got the big heavy jacket on, so it is very relevant to where you are and where you are from. That is for sure, mate. This carnival's about to hot up, the Queensland Racing Carnival, and I can't believe Darren Clayton's allowed to go away and have a holiday at this time of the year. How does that work?
Yeah, look, I don't know. He got that one under their guard. Maybe it was part of the deal when he joined, but I think maybe it's recharged the batteries. He's back on deck later this week, and I'm sure it'll be all systems go from Darren's point of view right through to the end of July. So I guess with Redcliffe coming up the next couple of weeks, gets him a chance to get away for a few days to relax and get ready for the carnival.
I know he does land tonight. So, okay, just been told my audio has to go up a little bit. Sorry about that for everyone trying to listen. The man tells me he'd be pretty right too. So I'll get that up a bit more. So I think that's a bit too loud now, but hopefully that's not too loud for you, Bricky. Brad Steele quite comically says there, D Brick currently in shorts and a t-shirt. In 10 days' time, I don't think Brad Steele will need his shorts and t-shirts, will he?
No, he'll have to swap them for something a bit longer, I think, and maybe a couple of beanies. But yeah, no, it'd be sad to see Brad go, but I'm sure he'll make a good fist of it over in New Zealand.
Ricky Orchin's about to win. I think it's Ricky Orchin. I think they're his colours. Has he made his way up to Redcliffe already? I should have had the field.
He was definitely up here yesterday because he
Jive Master just won the race for at Redcliffe. So yeah,
he had a few horses in the trials at Menangle today, but he may have someone else may have been driving those. But he's definitely was up here yesterday, so probably right.
He'll be up here fishing and the likes as well. So he'll be happier. He enjoys his time up in Queensland, doesn't he? Like a few of you guys.
He does. He mightn't have as busy a time this time in. Traditionally does bring quite a team up, and I think he was planning on doing likewise this year. But we have got the Redcliffe Lights being the upgrade happening at the moment, which has restricted the training activity at the track till about 7. So I think my discussion with Ricky when he was heading up that he was probably going to limit his team a little bit just based on that and the training capacity at Redcliffe over the next few months.
Yep. It's always good to have an audio man listening to me audio, so everything's good now. We're good to go. Jackie Gibson's watching. We've got plenty of people. Get in touch with it. Natalie Gameson as well. Hello to you. Bricky, Redcliffe, firstly, from Racing Queensland, because Brad Steele's with the Creek and the rest, it's going to be a big changing of the guard, I suppose, for Queensland over the next couple of weeks. It's great that Brad's been appointed the job at New Zealand, and exciting for him and his wife to be heading across there. But of course, that's going to make quite a few changes for you guys, and I know he's going to still be there as much as he can through the Constellations to keep it as smooth as possible, but must be good to have had a good working relationship with him over as many years as you have.
Yeah, absolutely. I think much of what's been able to be developed in here, particularly from a metro racing venue point of view in the last 3 to 4 years, has got Brad's fingerprints on it, and he'll be leaving and certainly be sadly missed. The fact that they've developed a really strong team there. You mentioned Darren there, Ken Rutherford there, who's leading them up at the moment, and their board. I think there's a really solid platform, and I think there's other areas where we're in discussion with the club about how we can improve harness racing in Queensland. Obviously, they're a significant part of that, running over 100 or close to 160 meetings a year, and moving into 2025, at some stage throughout the year, there'll be no longer greyhound racing there, which will free it up to being a harness racing only venue. So there's some opportunities there that we've already started some discussion with the club. So, and I'm sure Brad's leaving some of his knowledge in regard to that and some of his views and vision for that. So it's an exciting opportunity for the industry. There's been always an ongoing working relationship with the greyhounds, but the fact that it becomes a fully flexible venue for harness racing gives us some opportunities from next year onwards. So there's certainly plenty to be done. Even though Brad's moving on, there'll be plenty for us and the Creek to sink our teeth into in the coming years.
Yeah, I think that part's super exciting too, because as you said, there with no greyhound racing, probably just frees up the venue. You might be able to, like with a new calendar we got down here in Victoria, the one that New South Wales has got, sort of align them, maybe move to a Wednesday night at Albion Park, maybe with those Wednesday night meetings. The Bathurst always one of the stronger cards. Plenty gives a bit more options for them and a bit more wiggle room, I suppose, as to when they race and where they race as well.
Yeah, that's what we've had that discussion with our clubs, and probably in the last 3 or 4 months, just around the current calendars set for 24 through to the middle of 25, but the 25-26 calendar's one which we'll sit down with the clubs and have a chat about. Are there other areas we can improve wagering, improve engagement? So as you said, it provides that opportunity, and it's one that we'll work through. And look, Redcliffe's a really important venue for us as well, and we're obviously investing in the lights there. It's a $6 million upgrade, so they'll continue to race. And even though it's a unique track as a triangle, it does wager very well, particularly given that it's a consistent venue from week to week. So we'll certainly continue to invest and race there. But as you said, in terms of what the mix is and when the clubs race, we'll work through that with them.
Yep. While I've got you, before we get on to these other ones, there's two things I want to congratulate you on. Firstly, is Trot Rods. It's outstanding. I was watching it here. I was doing the show live and able to watch it. I think I was actually talking to Darren at the time. I was talking to someone anyway, but with the speed cameras up, and it is exciting. I know it comes with an expense, but it is an exciting way to view harness racing, and it's something we need to be able to embrace and almost get more people to watch it, turn it into a TV sport for 90% of the time. Don't worry about necessarily getting crowds, because what you guys were putting up is actually a TV spectacle in a way, because you were able to see the speed that horses were doing at the time. I think you had 2 horses in a couple of races where you were able to do it. So I think from my point of view of trying to do things differently, I think that was outstanding. And then before you answer that one, also the second part was that the single camera coverage on Leap to Fame. Now, I don't know if that was Racing Queensland or the people that do the production or whatever, but to have a camera blocked out on him for 90% of the time, I think at one stage the cameraman might have got a bit confused, because he did go off on a tangent but came back. But I think that's, again, a different field of view. I've never thought about it, but just to lock onto one horse, I think they're outstanding, and they are thinking outside that square.
Yeah, look, we've been really, really lucky with our OB partner, PSP. They're a family-run business out of Toowoomba up here, and about 6-7 years ago, we put out to tender our OB contract, and they put their hand up, and we haven't looked back from a vision point of view since then. They've been outstanding. And they commit to innovation, and while early days, I guess we sort of led that. In more recent times, there's been a lot from their end that they've been looking to how they can improve our product, and which is great to partner with someone like that. It's not just us coming up with the ideas. It's field experts, I suppose. It's all well and good to have the ideas, but they're the ones technically who have to do it. And if they're looking out there as to how they can do it, and they see things in their industry that they can bring to harness racing, well, we're always willing to embrace that and give it a go. So, as I said, like Trot Rod's a good example. They've sort of picked up and run with that. It's something 3 or 4 years ago we sort of had a go at sort of some different vision, and we understand for some wagering punters, and particularly traditional harness racing punters, there's some elements that doesn't necessarily resonate with them, but I guess we look at it as a bit of a shop front and an opportunity for people to have a look at the sport in a different way, like you said. And there's bits that we then move on and use in the carnival, and there's other bits that we might just leave to something like the Trot Rods. So we see it as an opportunity to trial things. At the end of the day, it's 20 races out of about 3,000 annually. So we think it's, if we can confine it to that, give us an opportunity to trial things, and those that work, we can move into potentially other parts of the business, or if we just keep it to Trot Rods. And the camera on Leap to Fame was actually a funny one. I flicked the crew a message on Saturday night and said, I think we should try and do this. I got a text from them about half an hour afterwards and said, sorry, we didn't get your message until afterwards. But unbeknownst to us, one of their camera crew must have been onto it anyway, and they actually did it. So, so it was I guess, best laid plans that ended up working. So I don't know where they got because the message didn't go straight to the cameraman, but they ran with it, which was good. And look, it'll certainly be something we look to do through the carnival. It's just depends on venues. Probably this week at Redcliffe, we'll probably look to the drone will probably just be follow Leap to Fame. Probably a bit different this week is drawn too, so it's maybe not as engaging in some regards, but the following week where he's going to be off the mark in the Redcliffe Cup, similarly you can do the same type of I guess engagement. So and look, works during the live coverage, but also really good as a post race analysis and engagement piece as well.
I think from a punting point of view, you wouldn't want to be watching just Leap to Fame because you would miss so many other things. But it definitely is a post promotion of the industry to sit there and just and where I think it's so good is you can, if you're just a person that likes horses, you'd watch that. But me and Marie, we found ourselves just watching Grant's hands and how he communicates with that horse. And because the camera was so much closer, you can just see when he opens his mouth, he's just talking to him. He's not yelling at him, but then he's just the way he just squeezes his hands and moves his hands when he's driving him as well. It just gives, I think, so many different insights. And to be honest, he won that night too. But imagine if he got beat, as a short price favourite in that race, and you could see 600, 800 from home. He's just not on the bit, and things. It could actually help us sell the industry as how come a $1.70 pop gets beat so comfortably when you could actually potentially see that $1.70 pop under pressure, 800-900 metres from home, and being able to sort of broadcast that back to him. People could say, oh yeah, we can see there's something just not right, nothing sinister, just something not quite right with him.
Yeah, and I think it's important for us to be able to show those different camera angles. The reality is we are an industry that's led by wagering and funded by. So I guess in how we cover our sport via Sky Channel, there is a set coverage that we try to work to, and there's people that are betting in the run and the like, so we've got to be mindful of them. So therefore, that by and large, our OB crews try and capture the full field in the shot as much as possible. But what that does take away, and it's a bit like the trot rods and that up close engagement that you can provide, such as the following Leap to Fame or driver cams and the like, which really gives the viewer and those that are probably outside our sport a chance to understand and get engaged with it, is something we need to continue to work on. Sometimes, rolling into live vision, there's a balance, but certainly how we can use it, and social media is a great tool for that. So, we'll continue to look at those options, because, as you said, I think for so many different people such as yourself who have followed the sport for a long time and understand the sport very well, but then others that aren't, are only novices in the sport, but I think it gives them a better insight as well. So, I think that's really important.
And I also think just watching that footage, I think young kids trying to learn the game, probably maybe learnt off mum and dad all their life and the rest, to be able to sort of rewind, watch it over and over again, as I say, and just the intricacies of a person, champion trainer. One of the more underrated. I can't believe people bag the way he drives. It just does my head in, because his record's second to none, and a dead set good bloke. You could ask him. I'd imagine some of those kids in Queensland could go up and ask him, why does he do stuff? Then go back and watch it. And then if they got another question, it just would accelerate the learning capabilities, as well as a great way of selling our industry. And Cam Bray's just tuned on. Anyone in New Zealand, Brad Steele might be listening, might not be. Anyone in New Zealand, it's a great way to capture these champion horses as well in a unique fashion, because just a close-up of one horse as he's going round makes a huge difference. He steps out at Redcliffe tomorrow. The carnival basically starts, Friday. The carnival basically starts from Friday, but still got a long way to go as well. Like, what do you got, 6 weeks, 8 weeks still to go, as well as the whole carnival?
Yeah, it's a bit of a marathon from that point of view, but look, really the eyes are on, I guess, Southern Hemisphere harness racing from now right through to the end of July, which is great. We've set it up that way in conjunction with the clubs. We get our opportunity, as we've discussed earlier. The weather certainly helps that, and helps in terms of getting the participants and the horses up here, and that's a key driver for getting the best horses and the people to watch it. So we'll continue. We've always been working on that, and we have by and large put most of our eggs in the basket in terms of our carnival and the constellations. But we think by doing that, it enables participants both locally and outside of Queensland to really target the carnival. And they're bringing one horse, well, there might have been another race for another horse, so therefore they bring 2 or 3 up with them. So we've structured it that way, and that's, I think, a strength that we've worked to. And as you said, it does go for that significant period of time, but we think it really is a launching pad for harness racing in Queensland for the remainder of the year, because not only are people watching the feature races, they're seeing the Queensland participants who are certainly up there with the best in the country, and we've got some of the leading drivers clearly, and trainers. So it's a really good opportunity for them to showcase their abilities as well.
Yeah, and I don't want to go through every race. Just as a person that loves the industry, has been a part of the industry for as long as I can remember as well. and a promoter, like you are a promoter, whether you like it or not necessarily a person, front and centre every time. Do you get nervous about a horse like Leap to Fame as he's returning to the racetrack, that, leading into these carnivals, like if this horse is up and running, like that Inter Dominion last year, and that raw 600 out, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger, do you get do you yourself get nervous about a horse like him coming back, and hope to goodness that he comes back as good as he ever has been?
Oh, I don't know if I get so much. You get nervous so much. You want them to continue to go through, and clearly, whether it be harness racing or thoroughbred racing, we've seen when those best horses are there, that's what brings people through the gate. And at the end of the day, you want people to come and watch those horses or watch on TV. So, look, it's if they're not able to get there, clearly that's disappointing at the time. We're all understanding that they're horses, and no to people, you go to the footy and you want to watch, whether it be Buddy Franklin or Patrick Cripps, but at times they get injured and you have to watch others. But look, probably not so much nervous, but you want to see them race as many times as you can through the carnival. Touch wood, he's been a really resilient horse so far, and Grant's obviously looked after him really well, but he's it's not like he's under raced, I guess. He still has plenty of starts, and he's probably likely to have at least 4 to 5 starts over the next 6 weeks anyway. So compared to probably thoroughbreds where you might see them have 3 or 4, he'll certainly have that, and then back up again later in the year. And we saw how good he was at it at the back end of last year, where he went right through the Queensland Carnival, Eureka, and then the Inter Dominion. So he's clearly got a very good constitution.
Yeah, and I've got to say hats off as well to Grant and Trista, because it's not something they necessarily embrace as people. They're not, they're here to train horses. But, geez, they do a great job with this horse, the way they celebrate him as well. I think he's awesome, and it must make your job a little bit easier when he does come back as good, because you're potentially going to have 10 more people jump on a plane just to go and see him. And I encourage people, if you get a chance towards the end of the carnival, to get up there, because that Raw, as I said, that Inter Dominion night was just something breathtaking. It was just brilliant to be able to watch and be a part of it. Have you been a part of anything like that before, Ricky?
Not in terms of, not from a horse point of view. I mean, I'm trying to think back. Probably the one horse that I probably recall of probably an affinity with was probably maybe Shaker Maker back in the days, maybe. Yeah. I think in Victoria, that'd be probably the closest I can think of it. I'm sure, horses like On the Mighty Quinn and that, particularly in WA and the like, would have a similar type of hairs on the back of your neck type of feeling, but I guess I don't recall of him really being on track, in that, from his point of view. Blacks and Fakes probably another one. We saw him, in Victoria a bit in my time there, but again, he was a Queenslander, probably a bit different, but probably Shaker Maker's maybe the one that I can recall, when he won the Inter there and some of his other runs there. The crowd certainly followed him, and I think he brought people through the gates that were sort of on the borderline of following, racing, I suppose. And and that's certainly what Leap to Fame does. There's people that you see come into the track 20, 30 minutes before he runs, watch, and then, head off afterwards. So that's, we'd like to keep them there around a bit longer. But if that brings people through the gates just to watch him go around, well, that's a good result as well.
And next time they're sitting in a pub or sitting at home, they might have $1 each way on a horse at Redcliffe or at Albion Park, and that's what the industry needs. So, yeah, all these little things. I know I did a podcast with David Aiken years ago, and he said one of the biggest roars he's ever heard on a racetrack was when Gamelite came through the tunnel for his last race, which was an Inter Dominion. He said he was over the back straight, and he said the roar was just deafening where he was. He said he wasn't even the winner. He was just walking out onto the track, and it just, Akey just said it was just something to be, he was just rapt to be a part of it. He was on the back straight of the track. He wasn't like he was driving the horse or nothing. So yeah, I think those things are great. Rightio, where are we at? I got to actually, you've got to go shortly, so I've really spoke to you too long. Let me know if you have to go, mate. I apologise for that, but we've
just a few minutes. That's fine.
He's got child pickup, anyone wondering. With some of the latest, I suppose, invitations, if you like. We might start with the Harasta Trotters Great Square quickly because not quickly, just as long as it takes you, Bricky. But there's a few invites out. London to a Brick was awesome a couple of weeks ago. David Miles's filly, whose name I can't believe it's Rocking with Attitude. She steps out Saturday night. So they're starting to step out and about. The little trotter was a little bit naughty on Tuesday, but got an invite as well. So
he galloped, but he got the 3-year-old invite on a couple of weeks ago now, a week or so ago now. We've still got one 3-year-old invite available, so we're sort of keeping our eyes out there. There's a few certainly in the mix. Goat obviously won on Tuesday up here. There's a couple of other 3-year-old trotters up here going well. So we're sort of certainly keeping the eyes out there. The other one from an invite and accepted is Bet and Win. He trialled in New Zealand today at Ringiora. Trialled well in second in that trial, but against the Pacers. So he'll be, I think he might be looking to have another trial potentially over there and then heading over here and going around in the Stella Square, which is the week before. But as you said, Rocking with Attitude goes around Saturday night. There's a number of other mares going around in that race as well that we're keeping an eye on as well for the race.
She's Ruby Roo and a couple of others, I think there wasn't there?
Yeah, She's Ruby Roo was scratched actually just when I just checked before.
I spoke to the driver last night and she is too. That's unfortunate. So that'll be a spanner in the works because last night I can tell you Greg their plans were to actually head up to, there's a lead-up race, or not a lead-up race, but a good race at Menangle, and then that's the week before the Great Square. So talking to him, that was an option for him, but She's a Wish, I'd imagine, a couple of others there.
Virginia Cloud's another one. Sort of in there that are certainly indicated an interest in the race, so we're certainly keeping an eye on those. A couple of local trotters as well. And then Rising Sun. Captain's Knock, Frankie Ferocious, The Lost Storm, Extreme Sea, all accepted invites. Luxor Turner and Soho Spectre have both accepted 3-year-old invites. So there's, again, a number of 4-year-olds sort of going around on the weekend. There's a couple up here from Queensland that are going around. You've got For Real Life that goes around against Leap to Fame at Redcliffe, and then Sure Thing Captain going around on Saturday night. Artie's Flash is another one going around at Redcliffe. So they're all well and truly in the mix, and then there's also some pretty strong racing down south, particularly in Menangle. There's a couple of Doug's Platter and Captain Hamed's going around in Victoria. So there's a lot sort of in that sort of group there that they're all I think worthy runners in the race. Unfortunately, when you've got 12 runners, 15 or 16 or 17 doesn't go into 12. So
no, do you guys have do you have a formula? Obviously, you've sent out your invites now. I won't say obvious ones. That's a bit rude to the other people, but probably horses that you probably have targeted to get there to make sure they do get there. But horses that are on the fringe, a lot of the times, if they make the effort to go to Albion Park, does that count towards that, or do you take each race as it's?
Yeah, the guys basically, handicappers basically take it, and they're their races on their merits. Clearly, lining up form from one state to the next can be slightly difficult, particularly at that level. And those 4-year-olds, the guys certainly look at form, particularly in free for all grade. That's that obviously does tick some boxes from that point of view. Let alone as opposed to races maybe against their own age. But, those horses there, a lot of them have raced against each other in whether it might be Sydney through the Chariots of Fire. And there's not much between them, really. It really is, throw a blanket over a number of them. So, as I said, look, there'll be certainly our guys take that responsibility seriously and are continually watching the races. And, we want horses to be targeting these good races. And unfortunately, we do have a field size of 12 that we've got to cap it at.
Yeah, and some horses are going to miss out. That's exactly right. And and unfortunately, some horses go amiss as well, which that does happen as well.
And that's that's a good point in that regard. And it's not that, as you said, we want that to happen, but that's just the realities that what I guess our guys might have some idea of who might be getting it today in a week or two's time could be different. Things happen with horses, as we know. The other thing that we have done in recognition of the fact that, the fields for these races are going to be strong, we've put, there's a $50,000 consolation on for the Rising Sun. So yes, that's I guess at least that's well, I don't want to call it a booby prize, but it's at least for those that miss out, there is still a significant race there, an opportunity to earn some good dollars. And we have got the 4-year-old championship a couple of weeks later, which is another $50,000 race. So, yeah, there are some other targets as well for those horses as well.
Jeffrey Dixon's a one-eyed Melbourne supporter, the poor bugger, but he wants to know about Petrarca. Has he been on the radar, or is he? Yep.
Well, no, certainly is. We're not too sure whether or not we haven't there hasn't been an indication that he'd be heading up this way at this stage. But certainly, look, if he was, then clearly, he's sort of well and truly would be. So I'm aware that a Eureka slot holder, I think he's Danny Zav does own, and he's got a slot the Eureka, so he may have some other plans with regard to him heading towards the Eureka. I don't know that, but I guess I'm only surmising that may be the case. But obviously, if they decided to head this way, then he'd certainly be one that would be in the mix for sure.
I had the name of it, and its name's left me. It starts with P. The 2-year-old slot race. Are you happy?
The Protostar.
Protostar.
Yep.
One, are you happy with how that's progressing?
Yeah, absolutely. It's it's created plenty of interest from right across Australia, which is good. And certainly those people who own a good 2-year-old have been lobbying to get their horses in there. But I think if we look at the moment, the horses that are heading that way, it's going to be a really good race. There's a number of Victorians that heading that way. I think at this stage we've got the highlight reel, Sagano and 40 Love from Victoria locked in. There's Bittersweet and my Ultimate Barney from New South Wales and Fader Waits from Queensland at this stage. So those horses are locked in. There's 4 slot holders still yet to I guess, declare their hand. But, we look forward to seeing who they come up with.
Do you liaise with them at all?
With the slot holders?
Yeah.
Yeah, look, we do. Sometimes we do get some of the slot holders reach out and either want to touch base or have we got any idea who's heading up. And we've also had some of the owners of horses ring up with looking for the contact details of slot holders who will touch base to see if they may be considering their horse. So, yeah, it happens a bit both ways in that regard. So we're sort of certainly happy to act as a middleman there. Ultimately, it's between the two parties to come to a deal. But, we can assist. We certainly do.
Do you monitor potentially the horses that they, like, obviously, you want the A-plus horses in a race like this? Like, is there, or it is just purely the person that gets a slot, they can put whichever horse they like in it?
Yeah, they can. I mean, look, I guess there are clauses within the contract that if we deem a horse that someone went and put their own horse in that we didn't think was quite up to what we think that the quality of the race should be, then we do have a right within there to deny nomination. But look, to date we haven't had to do that. I guess it's in their best interest to try and win as much money as they can. So they're putting the money on the line, but. Yeah, look, I guess if it got to that, we'd have a discussion with them. But, at this stage, certainly all of them are picking horses that they think are going to give them the best chance to make an earn out of it.
Now, you do have to pick your kids up, so this won't be a minute, but the driver's slot race has created a lot of attention. I did an interview with Adam Bowden last week from Diamond Creek, and unsolicited, he actually said that himself and Nancy, and they're already keen on a driver to go across, Nancy Tactor, to take a driver across. Are you blown away by the reception that this race has actually got? Well, it's not a race. Well, it is a race, but it's a race series as compared to an individual race. Are you blown away by the response?
Look, it certainly, I think, caught me a bit by surprise in terms of, I thought locally we'd get a fair bit of interest, but the international interest has certainly been a surprise, but a pleasant surprise in that regard. And probably I probably expect a little bit from North America, just given we'd did a little bit of work there to try and push that angle. But we have also had some interest from Europe, which was probably something I didn't so much expect in the first year, or when we first launched it. So it's great that it's got that far and there's that interest. Again, it's a bit like the Proto Star that, ultimately that's between once we determine slot holders and then drivers to come to an arrangement. But again, we'll certainly look to assist where we can there.
But I do think, Bricky, the one thing about this race that I love is it's not necessarily going to be the who's who with the syndicates. It's actually going to be who can bring the best ideas, almost, if you like, to promote this industry, which I would imagine, we talked there before about the trot slots and that, single camera. You're going to get some ideas that you guys probably haven't seen, but so it'll help only showcase our industry. Now, that could be camera views, but it also could be, I've heard of almost, I think Darren was saying there a couple of weeks ago, almost like a pit straight where the drivers will go into a marquee and people might be able to get access to them in between each race and discussing it. There's so many. That's the part that I like. I like the fact that there's going to be some international drivers, and I've heard whispers of a few, which are going to be so exciting. It could end up being an all international drivers race, and people might say, "Oh, that's no good." Geez, I flip side that, because in the middle of winter over there for those guys, it's eyes are going to be on Queensland racing and or racing in Australia, and it's a great time for Australian racing as well, because it's a good time down here in Melbourne with the summer carnival. It just could be so exciting for our industry, full stop. I think it's great.
Yeah, no, we're excited by it. We've got a bit of work to do to implement it and make sure it's a success. But we're confident that we can do that. But it's important to note that, a bit like you said with regard to how we're looking to select the slot holders, that the whole idea actually came from a participant. So it's important, I think, for the series and for the concept itself to have involvement from other people, because as you said, we as administrators, we can come up with different ideas and try and implement them. We need support from participants and those in the industry to support those and make them a success. But I think when we've got ideas coming from outside of the industry or from people within the industry as well, that can only help, and it helps, push the industry forward. So, in this instance here, it was Trent Dawson that came forward with an idea, and it's important. We can't implement everything that participants come forward with, but I think when they do, and we think it's, something that we can make work, it's important that we try and do that, because we want to foster that. We're not the only ones with good ideas. There's plenty of people with that. So we just got to try and work where we can. And as I said, we can't do everything. There's a finite amount of money, but we think this one, was one that we could have a crack at. So as you said, I guess piggybacking off that the Trent had thrown up the idea, we want some other slot holders to do likewise and come up with some ideas as to how we can promote harness racing.
Yeah, I like that, and that was actually the start of my thing there. Jeffrey Dixon saying, could the Hunter Cup become a slot race? I hope not, Jeffrey. I hope it stands the test of time, because we still need the history, some of these sports. But could we have a slot race on the same night as a Hunter Cup? Maybe. Who would know? But you can't say no to it, because, if someone said to me, well, you can have a $3 million Hunter Cup if it's a slot race, well, you're not going to say no to that, and what a race that would be. But if there's no extra stake money, I wouldn't like that part of it. But just that is one of my challenges, Bricky. I'm just a bit frustrated trying to promote this sport, and it does sometimes become a hamster wheel, if you like, going round and round and round. If people have an idea, you encourage them to do it the right way, but to try and talk to people. But if clubs have an idea, or some of these governing bodies, if they have ideas, to try and get them out there, and don't just necessarily get a no straight away. Try and get the foot forward. Would you encourage that as a person, one that knows how Victoria works as well? And I don't want your Victorian hat on, but the successful hat that Queensland's got on at the minute, with all these new races coming in, is there a way that people need to get this message out there, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I from my own personal perspective, is I find the easiest way of doing that is being able to be personable try and be approachable so participants do come up and have a chat with you. We're not always going to agree on everything, but I think, as I said, the discussion with Trent was only, he was willing to come up and throw up the idea. So hopefully, there's that common respect between administrators and participants, that we're willing to have a chat. And sometimes there's going to be different points of view, but if we're willing to have that open communication, that at some stage there's going to be ideas like this that get thrown up that we can work together on. So, I think from my perspective, that's where I see it. That and as I said, this wasn't a strategy session or anything like that came up with it. It was just a general discussion. Hey, do you think this would work? Oh yeah, right. How could we work it? And you have a bit of a chat through it and go, all right, well, let's take it away and put it on the whiteboard and see if that could work. So, sometimes, I guess big picture planning and that, you need that. But sometimes some of these ideas just come out of, people just having a general discussion and a passion and interest in the industry. And I think if you can foster that relationship and that discussion, I think that can only help.
Yeah, totally agree, and I think that's good words. Before I let you go, it was 16 months in the making before the announcement. Is that correct? On the
it was a fair while, and look, we'd sort of we'd got it to a fairly good position, and then we had the Inter-Dominion last year, and we just didn't have. Again, we want to make sure we did it right, so we sort of had to let the Inter-Dominion take. Yeah, that's right. And let it have its own period of time. So, look, we sort of had to. That was sort of part of the reason. I know Brad Steele was certainly keen to get out there as soon as he could. So I had to keep saying it is Cadman's going to happen, Brad's going to happen. We just have to push it until after the Inter. So, but we got there, and as I said, we're part way through there. We've got some interest now. We've just got to get the slot holders and look forward to getting that sorted, and then running the first edition of it. And hopefully that's successful.
Bricky, I'll let you go. Joe Pace said, do you need a job up there? Because he says need a job, Bricky, in Queensland, obviously the cold weather. But the Barger, I was going to call him something else just then, forgot what I was on live. He wants a hat every time. He's the greatest hat thief I've ever come across, Joe Pace. He's worse than me. And that's saying something.
What type of hats he want?
Any type. If you send him a hat, he'll be a happy man. I can promise you.
Fine.
All right, if you send one down, he'll be very, very happy, I can tell you. The worst part is, when he sends these messages, he's outside having a coffin nail. So I know exactly what he's doing. So he's outside having a dart, and he sends a message, and then he goes back inside, and he'll come out and send a message in a little while, and you know what's going on. So he'll either respond to it or he won't. Mate, let you go. Pick up your kids. Thank you very much for sharing some time. I will catch up with Darren Clayton either next week or the week after. Of course, it does start this Friday night at Redcliffe, but still got about 2 weeks, just over 2 weeks to go before it really starts to hot up at Albion Park. So well done to yourself and everyone up there. And as Mark Gurry's just come on there, Carnival was awesome last year, and he'll be looking forward to it this year. Of course, had him up, one of his horses, so he'll be well and truly up and about. So getting ready for it, that's for sure. Thank you, mate.
It's a good time, and stay warm.
No, thank you very much, mate. We will. Thank you.
Bye.
David Brick there, he had to pick his kids up, and I think what he said was with the good timing, his boys might have just come in. So really, really exciting. But I do think the key message there, going forward, is no idea is silly, and people don't run away with it. Just think about your ideas and change it. It's been said there a couple of times. Mufasa Metro and Majestic Lavros are also going. Yep. So good luck to you with those horses there. But it was Jeff said there before to me that I asked and challenged people last year, and then I dropped the ball and I get too busy and all the rest. And it is one of those things. Like I say, it's a hamster wheel, and everyone goes round and round. And the drivers that are about to go around in race 5 at Swan Hill, they're just worrying about the next race and the next race. And I think at some point in time, people have to stop and have a look and see what is going on and how we can do it. And I believe there are plenty of options going forward. I reckon we need a Bendigo mile race to run side by side with the Aldebaran Park Murray mile. It could be the Woodlands Weapon, the Alabar Assault. I don't know. Change it up. Let's Better Vet New Zealand. We could call it the Better Vet Battle or something along those lines, or the Blast. The Better Vet Blast could be a better way of putting it. Barristock, great supporters of Campbell's comments. anything along those lines, but have it on an all night and make all that 1st January in Bendigo, make it speed, all speed. 2 weeks time they go to Ballarat for the staying test, middle road staying test, and then 2 weeks after that the Hunter Cup, that won't be a slot race. I hope Jeffrey hopes it stands the test of time, but it is the time-honoured race that it should be. Should go back to a standing start. Never will happen. But put it as a mobile, put it over the long trip, and just build this 6-week carnival of cups. But change the country cups as well. I believe lesser clubs, instead of having up to 80 rated horses and things along those lines, change it completely. Go for the 2-year-olds, go for your 3-year-olds. Really change up actually what you do and how you actually go about it. I think I encourage people to get behind change. Embrace the industry. I do get frustrated, as I said, I was cold and grumpy last night. Our horses went good, but I was just cold and grumpy last night because, I think sometimes people have to have a look around. As I said, the club and committee at Bendigo may have dropped the ball last night because it was so bad, but they can't get a shed, but they do have the building there. They do have a room there that they could have opened up, put the heaters on, put the kettle on, and let everyone have a cup of tea or coffee and go from there. But there was nowhere to escape from the bitter cold weather, let alone when it's wet. But we need to change. We've got to be positive. I keep writing. I've actually written it there. Not that you might be able to read it at the top. It says be positive because I hate getting negative. Mark Gurry says lots of drama in a standing start. Everyone loves a standing start. There's no problems there, but it won't come back, Mark, because betting turnover is king and we need to change it. But let's not just sulk about it. Let's really change it. We need full fields, big size fields to be able to grow these ones as well. So, well done to Pancare, Grant and Karen with Alice and A Lifetime for Living. Follow That Little Filly by Soho Tribeca. Stands at Lower Long Farms. Well done to those guys. The new look calendar is out right through up until October. Challenge clubs as well. Sell your sponsorship. Your membership. What an opportunity for some of these clubs to be able to sell their membership and go from there. What was betting turnover in for the New Zealand Cup? They'll never change it. Please. Standing starts will stay in New Zealand at the short time anyway, but I think they'll stay for the test of time, and that race is a time-honoured race, so that is one of the reasons that it does stay. So let's hope that it goes that way. Heats to get into the Hunter Cup, Joe. Don't worry about heats. Like I say, if you turn the Bendigo Cup to a mile race, and if you slot better than 154 or something around Bendigo on that night, free entry into the Hunter Cup. You're also only going to be on the short list for the Miracle Mile. Make these races leading up to these races worthwhile, and then the Hunter Cup will be a combination of them all. Ballarat Cup winner, the Bendigo Cup winner, the Shepparton Cup winner. They don't need to be heats. Let's just change it right up and get people thinking a little bit differently. I've got a few things on the go here. I'm not sure. I'm not going to call Jack Law the winner because they seem to drop back a little bit when they're out wide. These horses, they look like they're going to go swoosh-go at Swan Hill, and same thing's happened here again. I haven't watched a lot of Swan Hill racing, but this horse was well and truly beaten, and Jack Law was going to go past it, and I think it's the 8 Cameron Maggs. It was too, Windsock. So it was beaten for all money. Turning for home, Jack Law hasn't run a place. Sporty Filter. So, interesting race there at Swan Hill. Should Swan Hill race in the afternoons in the winter? Long way to go for $4,500 prize money. Jeffrey, the last race is at 8:20 to 9. It is a long way to go. Participants, good fields though. 12 horses in the last. 11, 10, 10, 9, 12. 10 and 10. Look, people are sitting at home though inside early. I don't think 8:40 is that late. I do agree it can be a late night, but we also have the choice. We don't always have to go if you don't want to. There is definitely that side of it, but 20 to 9 is not a bad result, I don't think so. Could definitely be worse, but we need to be able to put a show on. We need the punters betting on our product. Wednesday night is a good punting turnover night, so no, I think unfortunately I think that's okay, but it's definitely not 11 o'clock, so it's not too bad. Use the Vic Cup as the first heat, Bendigo's second heat, first 5 into the Hunter Cup. Don't disagree with it. but that would leave the Bendigo Cup over the middle distance, and I think it needs a major overhaul myself, to spice it up and really get the summer carnival off to a bang. But anyway, that's my opinion, and Joe's entitled to his. See what people think about that. 5 into 5 is definitely a different race. So rightio, winter time is upon us. There's some nice races coming up. Plenty of news coming out of New Zealand. I look like heading back to New Zealand very, very shortly. Got a couple of really cool interviews actually lined up over the next few days, so keep an eye out for Campbell's comments for those as well. Actually, I'll put the Nutrient one up there. The website for your yearlings, they open. Just need to wait till that comes across. I think it was June 29. They come across there. Sorry, actually, I realised I forgot a comment too. I can't go back on them because it's over there. Yeah, I've got to change. Still just got to change a few things. We have a few teething problems with the new set, but we'll get there. At least I can stream tonight, unlike the other day. Debbie Hibbard, in front of the fire, as my grandfather used to say, it's a woman's prerogative to burn a wood heap as quick as she can, so that's how she stays warm. And there's another similar one here. Alex Hurley sent one through. Just trying to find it. Just had Ben Zero drop off a load of wood yesterday, trying to test the limit on how hot I can get my fire. I did see a post from Karen Manning. She came over with her father last night from Bendigo, and he had his side of the car at 30 degrees. I was like, man, that's hot. So yeah, it was hot. Well, it was cold, and it was an exceptional night. I think tonight's in the same boat though. I don't think it's a lot warmer. Anyone sitting at home could have a reason. I think I've got to go outside though. I don't think my wife and daughter had trouble loading a horse, and I don't think they're home yet. So I'm going to have to feed. I probably should get another guest on and go for as long as I can. Right at the minute, so it's not as bad tonight. It's 5 degrees, feels like 3.5. So yeah, so last night, as I said, it was at this time of night, it was 1 degree and felt like -1. So yep, I just encourage people to do some different stuff. Rightio, that's a wrap for On Loose Lines. Trying desperately to get Talking Trotters back up and going. Had major issues with the Wi-Fi network that I was using. Incredibly frustrating the other day. Does appear at the minute that they have ironed out the problems. Going forward, they believe they've got them ironed out, but yep, hopefully they have, and hopefully by Monday night everything will be fine. Huge thank you to all my sponsors. Was speaking to, there's one thing I did want to say before when I was talking to Bricky, that Harasta Trotters are the main sponsors. 29th of July is when NOM's open for their yearling sales for the Nutrient Equine. Make sure you go to nutrienequine.com.au. But Harasta Trotters, great supporters, great sponsors of mine. The question they're asking there is about used to be. Is he one of the more underrated stallions? The job that he's doing is outstanding. But what was I going to say then? They won't be taking any horses up there, which was going to be a little bit of an issue for them. But the great supporters of the Queensland Carnival as well. Rightio, that is a wrap of one of the most unscripted shows that we have going round. Of course, Sundon's Gift getting into the man, that name just left me. But anyway, the retirement home for thoroughbreds. Something of champions, but anyway, that's okay. Other news, good news all round. But yeah, thank you to everyone that has got involved. As I said, there's a Pancare Foundation logo up the top. Joey Pace, might have to get you on one night again, Joe, going forward once it warms up a bit. It's too cold to be doing this show sometimes, but anyway, we'll be there. We will get the New Zealand content back in as well from next week, all going well. But yeah, stay tuned. Thank you very much to everyone that has tuned in. Really do appreciate it. And yeah, look forward to catching up with everyone next week with On Loose Lines. Tony Chibnall, Living Legends. Thank you very much, Tone. Good to catch up with you last week too. I did a big boo-boo. I owe you an apology. Didn't know about that until last night, but that is okay. But hopefully you've had a couple of winners since I spoke to you anyway. Thank you very much to everyone. We'll see you all next week.